Hey, it's me. Let's talk about why it's important to get in touch with your feelings, especially the ones you try to push away. Most of us only develop and take care of our bodies and our minds. We work out, we eat well, we go to school, learn and think, but our emotional side often gets ignored. This happens because somewhere along the way, we decided it was easier not to feel too much. We hoped this would keep us from being unhappy. Here's the problem with that though. When we shut down our feelings to avoid pain, we also shut ourselves off from real joy, closeness, creativity, happiness. We end up feeling cut off and lonely. This is why we must find the courage to let our buried emotions come up, no matter how painful or scary they may seem. In childhood, each of us faced disappointment, sadness. We learn to push those feelings away. We believe that if we refuse to feel, we wouldn't hurt. Truth is, we still ended up hurting, just in a quieter way. By feeling stuck, numb, disconnected from other people. Hiding from pain keeps us from growing past it. And it also keeps us from the good things in life, like warmth, love, and joy. When we finally dare to face our unspoken feelings, like anger, resentment, or the sadness we didn't want to admit, we could start to understand them. We can see why they're there and learn how to let them change and mature. The process is a bit like going through growing pains with your feelings. At first, it might feel tough. You might think, I'm worse off than I was before. But that's not actually true. It's just that you're seeing the emotions you once buried. Through this, you could finally work on them and grow stronger. You also begin to see that real love or any deep emotion simply can't exist if you keep your feelings numb. Love is about genuine warmth and connection. It's not an idea in your head. If you keep your heart shut down, you miss out on the real beauty that comes from caring deeply and being open. Emotionally, most of us want to be safe, like a child who hopes a parent or some authority figure will handle life for them. But this only makes us more helpless and more lonely. Truly growing up emotionally means learning to stand on our own 2 feet and accept that we can feel pain, work through it, and move on. And it's the only way to find a deeper confidence in ourselves and our relationships. So I encourage you to allow yourself to feel, even if the feelings seem negative, even if the feelings seem big and intense. Letting your anger, hurt, or fear come to the surface and talking about them in a safe way can lead you to amazing things, amazing insights. And remember, you have me and you have the Co-Creators Collective. If you ever would like support in this process, don't hesitate to reach out. Eventually, healthier emotions like warmth, real love, and trust will naturally take over. The shift isn't forced, it comes from finally processing what was buried. And at the end of it all, your emotional nature will be wiser, and you'll discover a kind of calm strength you didn't know was possible. You won't have to rely on any false fronts or pretend to be someone you're not. You'll realize that being honest about your feelings is what helps you truly connect with others and with yourself. Maturity isn't about avoiding pain. It's about facing your feelings and understanding them. This is what brings real joy and a true bond with life. And I wish that for you. Now, what might happen once you start letting your real emotions come to the surface? When you stop pushing your feelings down, you won't just notice a few negative emotions like anger, jealousy, or frustration. You're also going to find certain patterns happening in your mind. It's important to figure out what these patterns mean and whether they're truly mature or not. When you do that, you'll realize how they create the harmful emotions you feel guilty about. Okay, so let's identify these 3 possible patterns you might notice when you start letting your real emotions come to the surface. The first possible pattern is moralizing yourself. Many of us judge ourselves harshly whenever we act or feel less than perfect. Even if outwardly we seem calm, maybe even rebellious, we may have an inner voice that's strict and moralizing, pushing us to be ideal in every way. This doesn't help us grow. It just locks us into rigid rules and stops us from having genuine, heartfelt responses. If you feel guilty whenever you sense something negative in yourself, like anger, jealousy, or fear, you might be moralizing yourself. Okay, so that's the first pattern. The second possible pattern is overreacting or underreacting. Sometimes little things like a small compliment or minor criticism can make or break our mood. We get too excited or too crushed. We start feeling everything in extremes. One moment everything is great and the next is all terrible. That's because we haven't learned to see ourselves or situations with a gentle understanding that we can't always be perfect. If we feel shame when we're not perfect, then small events can shake our world. So see if you notice that pattern, overreacting or underreacting. And the third possible pattern is real versus unreal needs. So we all have real emotional needs, like the need to love and be loved, or to be recognized in ways that feel sincere. But if we haven't developed our emotional side well enough, we might confuse actual needs with compulsive ones. Then we're desperate for approval, attention, or reassurance. If we fear frustration or rejection so intensely, we try to bury our real needs. That makes us feel even more dependent on others because we think we can't meet our own needs on our own. So look for that third pattern of real versus unreal needs. In practical terms, think of this as 3 steps. The first, look for the moments when you harshly judge yourself for not being perfect. The second step is to notice times you react too strongly or not strongly enough to a small positive or negative event. And the third step is to identify needs in you that feel compulsive and panicky versus calmer, genuine needs that come from a place of self-awareness. By allowing your emotions to show, without immediately judging them as bad or good, you can learn to spot these 3 patterns. Now, this awareness won't fix everything overnight, but it is an important step. Once you notice where you're moralizing yourself, overreacting, or clinging to certain needs, you can work on letting go of impossible standards and discover healthier ways to fulfill what you really need. That's how you start to feel calmer and more secure in who you are without always worrying about perfection or what others think. Let me know how it goes. And remember, don't hesitate to reach out for support. I love you. Connect soon.